day from the trade deadline. We're 4 days to Super Bowl 60, and I'm looking for Super Bowl statements. Tim Hasselbeck, start me off. Super Bowl statement.
Well, how about this? Kenneth Walker's not sharing the backfield, so a lot of people think it's going to be a big day for him. But how about Drake May rushes for more yards than Kenneth Walker in this matchup? May's rushing this postseason has really been, vital in terms of the Patriots' success. It's something he does extremely well. I think he'll be hesitant to hold on to the football for a long time, and so for that, May, more rushing yards than Kenneth Walker.
I like that a lot. Find me a prop. Jeff Saturday, give me a Super Bowl statement.
How about wide receivers and DBs? JSN, this guy had a monster game in the NFC Championship game. Howard Gonzalez and Carlton Davis on the backside of that Patriots defense going to be able to lock. Are they going to double him and then single up on the other side with either Kupp or Shaheed? It's going to be a great strategic matchup in the backfield. But when I talk receivers and DBs, this is a matchup to watch. I'm fired up for it.
Yeah, the Patriots so strong back there in JSN, maybe the best in the league. D. Wood, give me a final Super Bowl statement.
Yeah, listen, I think the Patriots are going to make Sam Darnold beat him. As great as Sam Darnold played in the NFC Championship game, arguably his best game in his career, we know that this Seattle Seahawks offense, they want to run the football. Kenneth Walker III is a big part of it. I think Mike Vrabel on that defense, they're going to shut Kenneth Walker down, and they're going to make Sam Darnold, who's had a good year, but he's also led the league in turnovers this year. Mike Vrabel and company is going to force Sam Darnold to beat him.
Let's talk about Sam. So we finished our show yesterday. I go up to the office, and I'm changing out of my work clothes, and I'm watching you on First Take there with Stephen A. and the crew. And you're having a conversation, and I'll just put the question to you. I'm acknowledging it came directly from that, but I thought it was interesting. If Sam Darnold plays a game like that on Sunday and is a Super Bowl champion by the time we go to bed on Sunday night, will we have to wake up Monday morning and say Sam Darnold is an elite NFL quarterback?
Yeah, my answer is yes, especially if he plays the way he did to win the game. Like to Woody's point, if the Patriots block him in and say, hey, he's got to go beat us, and he does it, how would you not call him elite? This is a quarterback who's won 30 games in the last 2 years. By the way, the only two other quarterbacks who have done that, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. I mean,
in any 2 years
in
span.
any 2 year span.
Yeah.
I mean, that's legit. I mean, that's saying something. Now, not all wins go to quarterbacks. I get all that. But here, this is the way I discussed it yesterday, and I feel this is a great comparison. Eli Manning, he won 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl MVP, played fantastic. Throughout his regular season, people would talk about he was never like the guy that you said was the guy, right? He wasn't Peyton, he wasn't Drew Brees, he wasn't Tom Brady. And so I liken the two to each other. Is if Sam Darnold has this type of game in the Super Bowl where he's a Super Bowl MVP, absolutely. Are you saying that Eli wasn't elite? Like, I wouldn't say he's not an elite quarterback because he is. So that's the best comparison to me would be saying that a guy who not only has won a bunch of regular season games, but gets in the show and plays his 2 best games in the championship and the Super Bowl, you have to put him in that conversation.
It's funny because back in those days, that was the big topic on sports talk shows, like the ones that I was hosting at the time. You can't spell elite without E-L-I.
Love it.
That was the big discussion. Tim Hasselbeck, is Sam Darnold an elite quarterback if he wins on Sunday?
Yeah, listen, in my eyes, I would see it just the way Jeff sees it from a standpoint of, look, I think Eli Manning was an elite quarterback. And because, yes, the postseason success and obviously Super Bowl success, but also, the sustained success throughout his career, I think lets you look through his career, from the lens of, the guy was able to do it at the highest level. So that's how I would see it. Now, I don't think that that's how the public is going to see it for Sam Darnold. I think they'll see it the way that people are looking at Jalen Hurts, the way some people still look at Eli Manning, the way people looked at Joe Flacco. Guys that have had amazing success throughout their entire career, won Super Bowls, but they don't look them, to Jeff's point, don't look at them like Brees or Manning or some of these other guys that have played the position. So I think until you're doing it, for a long period of time throughout the regular season and the postseason, and then you win Super Bowls without the best defense on the field, I think people are always going to have some type of lens to say, yeah, but you're not like that other guy.
What do you think, D-Wood?
Yeah, you can be elite without being generational. Like you talk about Brees. Brees Peyton, those are generational. You can be an elite quarterback, okay? And that's why when you brought the name Eli Manning, it made a lot of sense because Eli Manning on one breath won 2 Super Bowls and was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. On the other hand, he led the league multiple times in interceptions. He was never the best quarterback at any point in his career, but he's also a guy that more than likely is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, if Sam Darnold continues what he's been doing this postseason, especially off the NFC Championship game where he had the best game of his career, if he goes out there and wins without the Kenneth Walker rushing attack, yeah, we're going to have to think of him in that manner.
And can I say this just to put this in a good reference point? The Rams scored a bunch of points and moved the ball up and down. Stafford had a great day against that Seahawk defense that's the number one. I get they're a great defense. Sam Darnold had to play an excellent football game for them to win. To act like he's being carried, and again, football is a team game. Special teams matter, defense matters, but in that moment when it was all placed on his shoulders, you got to go compete and outperform possibly the MVP. He did it in the biggest. How do you not call that elite? That to me is where it gets crazy. Like he is playing at an elite level right now.
It's a fun conversation. I will continue it as we football giants have their offensive coordinator, Adam Schefter, breaking the news yesterday. Matt Nagy will be joining John Harbaugh's coaching staff. Job number 1, the development of second-year quarterback Jaxson Dart. Yesterday, our own Marcus Spears not feeling this move.
No, I'm not confident. Okay, and I get what I get it. He's been around. He's been in Kansas City behind Andy Reid. Hopefully, he brings some of that and the ability to play at a high level. He's dealing with a young quarterback, the Mitch Trubisky, and the Justin Fields didn't work out. So, look, this league is about results. Sure. This league, you get judged on how do you develop guys. His development of young quarterbacks have been awful.
He's referring to his time as a head coach in Chicago where things did not go well with Mitch Trubisky, and then they drafted Justin Fields, and there was a whole bunch. It was just a mess that was going on then when he was there. What is your reaction to that big fella?
I echo what Swagoo said. I'm just not inspired by this hire by the Giants at all. I mean, you look at his time, forget about the time he was the Bears head coach. Let's fast forward to when he was the offensive coordinator with the Chiefs. Yeah. 23 through this past season. I mean, they were 19th in offense. Like you could actually say that the trajectory of Patrick Mahomes and his offense kept declining each year as he was the offensive coordinator. Then obviously they didn't even re-sign him. Eric Bieniemy comes back in, and you heard the whispers from a lot of people in the building. It was like, I'm glad to have Eric Bieniemy back here because of the accountability that he held everyone to. And so for me, that Giants offensive coordinator hire is so imperative because you have a young guy in Jaxson Dart who, in my opinion, can be a superstar in the National Football League. I'm just not inspired by that hire.
So I want to, Tim, I haven't had a chance to chat with you in a while. I've been sort of beating the drum that the Giants feel like they could be next year's version of this year's Patriots. They've got a young quarterback. We can put the numbers on the screen. If you look at Jaxson Dart's numbers this year versus Drake May's numbers when he was a rookie, they're somewhat startlingly similar, really. So the Giants have some pieces around him with a healthy Malik Neighbors, some pieces on that defense, bring in the veteran coach. They have to get this job right. They got to get the one thing the Patriots and Drake May have is Josh McDaniels, who's obviously as good at that job as anyone can be. So with that thought in mind, what do you think of Matt Nagy as the guy to put Jaxson Dart in that position?
I'm good with it. I'm surprised at the backlash, to be honest. Look, Matt Nagy, when he was in Chicago, Mitchell Trubisky was 25-13. Think about that. Mitchell Trubisky was 25-13 at the Chicago Bears as a starter. So I don't think, and some of his tenure at the Bears, he's gone through COVID. He didn't draft Trubisky. They end up turning the page and going to Justin Fields, who's quite frankly proved at multiple organizations that you can't play at a starter level. So I'm a little bit surprised. The best quarterback coach in the game over the last 20 years has been Andy Reid, and it's not close. And so I think that when you look at Matt Nagy over the last 17 years or so, has been with Andy Reid for 12 of those years, to me, it makes a lot of sense. I think that Harbaugh is building a good staff in New York. I think that Nagy is a good fit there, as long as he sticks to the process of the things he's learned around Andy Reid. And so I'm a little bit surprised at this, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is the direction they went in New York at offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. I understand, the skepticism from what happened in Chicago. But I can go back to the Chiefs kind of the dissection of it. Their offensive line wasn't good. They got no left tackle. They had, Tooney playing out there on a guard playing tackle at some point. There was a lot going on. They don't have a true running game. They got away from that. Nagy's not calling them. That's Andy Reid. I think they got away from what they did. Well, they left everything on Patrick Mahomes. That does not take away from his ability to develop a guy and put a guy. And it's not the same. Being a head coach and calling plays is different than just being a coordinator. And you could compare Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels been to 10 Super Bowls as a head coach. For some reason, it hasn't worked out. From the Matt Nagy perspective, I think he's a good fit under John Harbaugh at that OC position. I think he'll build a good staff. They have a good offensive line. They can run the ball and be physical. And if they get Jaxson Dart's portion right, which I'm with you, I think this kid's going to be a star. Like, he's got the it factor. You want to dial him back instead of letting him go. I think all arrows are pointing up in Giant land.
I think a lot of people were looking at Cliff Kingsbury. Maybe he seems to be.
I like Cliff as well.
Sort of out in this game in musical chairs. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. One way or another, the Giants find their man. We'll see if he's the one to elevate Jaxson Dart the way we've seen it with Jake.